Now, live breaking news from KCTV5 News.
Good morning, everybody. It is 9 o'clock right here on your Friday. Thank you so much for joining us at 9 o'clock. I'm Joe Chiodo.
And I'm Gina Buller. It doesn't really feel like Friday. It's been a long week. We want to get right to that breaking news this morning. The race for the presidency continues this morning. We have some major developments to tell you about here at 9.
Joe Biden taking the lead in Pennsylvania and Georgia this morning. We still do not have a clear winner yet, but it is getting very close to being called.
Yes, and according to the president's senior campaign advisor, Steve Cortez, the Trump campaign sent out an email to its supporters saying the election is not over and saying results in 4 states, so Georgia, Pennsylvania, Nevada, and Arizona are far from final.
While there are still many votes to be counted in both Pennsylvania and Georgia, it is looking likely that Biden will flip all of those votes, most of them leaning blue. The president cannot afford to lose either of those states, and again, Biden is up in both.
Right, and winning Pennsylvania could move Biden right over that 270 vote threshold needed to win this. Officials say the state could complete most of those outstanding votes, tallying those up today. Now, KCTV5 stands for you, and we want to give you a closer look at where these major undecided states stand this morning. So let's take a look at Pennsylvania right now. So again, Joe Biden taking over the lead here, but not by much. He is in the lead now just by under 5,600 votes.
And we also want to continue giving you a look this morning at Georgia. Right now, Biden with about 1,000 more votes than Trump. That is so narrow, just 1,000 votes. Again, both Pennsylvania and Georgia are must-win states for the president. If he does not get those, he cannot get to that 270 number. He has a much narrower path to victory than Biden. If President Trump loses in just one of those states and still somehow wins all the others left, he would still be short of 270. Now, you may be wondering, well, what exactly would happen if the president comes back in Pennsylvania, but Biden wins Georgia and then no other states? Biden wouldn't be at 270 by just winning Georgia and nothing else. He would be at 269. Kind of an interesting situation here. You have to wrap your mind around this. And then if the president won all the other states besides Georgia, he would be at 268. This is extremely unlikely with the way things are going right now. All trends are pointing in the direction that these states will continue leaning blue. But it is one of the top what-if questions being searched on Google right now. What happens if neither candidate gets to 270? Now, if a candidate gets a majority of the 538 votes, it goes to the House. Each state delegation would have 1 vote. A majority of 26 states is needed to win.
Now, senators would elect the vice president, and with each senator having a vote, a majority of 51 senators is needed to win there. Again, with the way things are going, this is very unlikely to happen in this election, especially with these new developments. Right now it is 9:03. We're going to stay on top of everything going on with the election, but first we want to give you a little right slice of the pie on this Friday and check in with Storm Track 5 meteorologist Erin Little.
And it really depends on where you live within our viewing area. For some of us, bright sunshine. It looks absolutely beautiful. For others of us, right now, including downtown Kansas City, we're stuck in this cloud cover and dense fog this morning. The latest look in terms of our visibility, your attention drawn to the yellow, the orange, and the red. That's where we do still have that thicker fog from areas of Kansas City extending south on 49, across the state line and over I-70 as well. On the Kansas side, we're going to keep an eye on this dense fog this morning through at least 10 to 11 o'clock this morning for our area. As we're heading into this afternoon, yes, some sunshine and temperatures rebounding nicely. We'll look ahead to your weekend forecast, those new updates here in just minutes. Gina, over to you.
Thanks, Erin. We do want to get to some developing news that we've been staying on top of this morning. 2 people were killed and 2 people were hurt in a shooting in the West Bottoms just after midnight.
We've been covering this since the moment it happened. Our Savannah Brudisau has been at that scene all morning long as well, talking with investigators. She does join us right now with the very latest.
Well, KCPD investigators have finished processing this area right here at 12th and Wyoming. Morning traffic is back open, as well as this gas station right here that was the scene of the crime early this morning. Officers found a man's body right here at this Phillips 66 here in the West Bottom. Now, also in this shooting, a woman died. She went to the hospital where she later died there. We know at least 3 other people were treated with non-life-threatening injuries. Again, that's 5 people shot, 2 people who are dead. Police have not said yet if they're looking for one shooter or for multiple. A witness told one of our photojournalists this morning that he heard a lot of shots from his apartment nearby, and he thought it sounded like people were firing back and forth at each other. KCTV tells us that they do not have anyone in custody as of right now. And this makes homicides 156 and 157 for KCMO in 2020. If you have any information about the shooting here at 12th and Wyoming early this morning, you're encouraged to call the TIPS hotline anonymously. That's 816-474-TIPS. Reporting in the West Bottom, Savannah Rudisell, KCTV5 News.
This morning, police in Lee's Summit are still looking for two suspects involved in a brief Amber Alert last night. You probably got that on your phone. Thankfully, the one-year-old girl was found safe. Her father called police around 6 last night. He said he pulled into a 7-Eleven at 50 Highway and 3rd with his one-year-old. He left her in the van. It was running. When he came out, the van was gone. Now, surveillance video showed a man jump into it, drive off, while the woman he was with took off in another car. Police used the father's phone's GPS to track that van. The little girl was still inside.
We are fortunate that technology was on our side this evening. We were able to quickly track the vehicle and get the child located safely. But it does serve as a sobering reminder, especially as we come into the colder times of the year, when it's easier to leave a child in the vehicle stays warm. We understand why it happens. We just also understand why it can't happen.
Now, we are still working to find out more information about the suspects. If you know anything, call the TIPS hotline.
Your time right now is 9:06. Happening today, a Leavenworth County Sheriff's detective will be laid to rest. A funeral for Corporal Dan Abramovitz begins in less than an hour at 10 a.m. at Children's Mercy Park in KCK. Law enforcement from departments across the country will be in attendance. The corporal was killed when his patrol car was hit by a school bus. This is just tragic. He was planning to retire early next year.
It is a video you might have seen circulating on social media. It shows a man wheeling what looks like a little wagon, a box, into a Detroit convention center where votes are being counted in Michigan, and it's gone viral. Even President Trump's son, Eric, tweeted it, leading 40,000 more people to retweet it. Now, the lawyer who shot this is a member of Lawyers for Trump and suggests that the box contains ballots. KCTV5 stands for you, and we are debunking that claim this morning. The mystery man in this photo, he is a journalist at a local station in Detroit who is using the wagon to carry equipment like so many of us journalists do, even here at KCTV5.
This lady could have simply cracked her window open, and as a 7 Action News representative, I would have gladly told her that it was a box full of batteries, and I was taking my wagon down so the photographer I was relieving could have a wagon because he forgot his.
Even if someone was trying to drop off thousands of ballots in the middle of the night, Michigan Secretary of State says it would never work.
Missouri Senator Josh Hawley says that he will introduce a bill to change election laws. Last night, tweeting, "If the last 24 hours have made anything clear, it is that we need new election integrity laws now. Ban ballot harvesting, guarantee poll watcher access, and make ballot counting transparent." It is important to note there is no evidence whatsoever of mass ballot harvesting, and there are Republican and Democratic officials in each location where mail-in ballots are being counted. The election officials that we've talked with have been helpful and transparent about this entire process.
The counties in the U.S. with the worst COVID-19 surges are also the same ones that voted for President Trump. An AP study found that in 376 counties with the highest numbers of new cases per capita, 93% voted for Trump. That's at a rate above other less hit areas. We told you on Wednesday that exit polls back up this study. Trump voters say they would rather focus on the economy than the pandemic, whereas Biden voters thought the pandemic was the most important part of their decision process this year. On election night, our teams, they were tracking results as they came in around the country and also here in the metro.
And one county's results, they were delayed right up until our 10 p.m. news, really getting down to the wire.
Yeah.
We wanted to know why. We sent our Bill Holbrink to find out. Here's today's Call for Action report.
The polls closed at 7 p.m. and our election night team went to work. Typically, results trickle in during the evening, but we never received any results from Clay County, Missouri until nearly 10 p.m. when all precinct results arrived nearly simultaneously.
And we had intentions to get them out sooner. However, we didn't anticipate, the curbside voting was going to go so late.
Clay County has offered curbside service at polls previously, but this was the first year it was available at the election office. They were hoping to serve the county's COVID patients and anyone who had been asked to quarantine by the health department. They also had hospital visits throughout the day to allow patients to vote and had to wait for judges to return with those results.
We have to pull the application, check signatures to make sure the signatures match. We have to look at them to make sure that they qualify to be counted. So if it required a notary, then we have to make sure that the ballot was notarized.
In addition to all the in-office work taking place, there was the sheer volume of people wanting to vote.
At Plat 1 in Smithville, one of our biggest precincts in the county, they've got about 4,000 registered voters at that precinct. They still had voters in line waiting to vote until almost 9 o'clock. With that being one of our bigger precincts, we didn't want to release results while people were still voting. So we had to wait until we got confirmation from our election judges that the last voter had voted.
And with the lessons learned from election night, there are plans to adjust for the future.
We do intend before the next presidential to obviously look at our precinct boundaries and see after the census where we can make adjustments to make some of those really big precincts at least half their size, so that way voters can be processed faster.
Even with the delay, all of the votes were counted and tallied. Now think about this minor local delay dealing with thousands of ballots in comparison to the millions of votes having to be tabulated in national elections. Perhaps it makes the delay seem not as bad. We definitely appreciate our election workers and all they do. For Call for Action, I'm Bill Hurlbrink, KCTV5 News.
Yes, we do.
All right. Thank you, Bill. 9:12 right now. It has been quite the week. We are all ready for this Red Friday. The Chiefs are getting ready, too, for their game against the Panthers come Sunday.
Should be a good one. Even with a 7-1 record, it's not all good news for the Chiefs this morning. Why they may have to go without one of their star defensive players this weekend.
But that doesn't mean we can't make it 8 wins.
Yeah, we got this.
9:12 right now.
KCTV5 News at 9 a.m. is back in just 2 minutes. Right now, here's a foggy look over Kansas City.